Hi everyone, we're here at the Lean in Pakistan headquarters at the Barak Center with this time Lean in Pakistan Foundation story number 19, where we're interviewing the incredible Sumbal Wahab, a sustainability and CSR specialist in the oil and gas sector at OGDCL, and she chairs the Lean in Pakistan Circle for Oil and Gas in Islamabad. She's just absolutely a complete rock star, and we're very honored to have you with us, Sumbal.
Hi, Tara. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. So this entire interview is about you because you're such a trailblazer in your field, and particularly oil and gas is not always considered that female friendly or female dominated, but you're quite making your name. But let's begin at the beginning. What was Sumbal like as a little girl?
Thank you, Tara, for having me, and it's such a pleasure to see you once again. Well, basically, I studied till matric from a convent from my hometown back in the 2000s, and it was in Swat when I started studying over there. And then I slowly and gradually moved for my higher education to Islamabad, and then I had my MBA in HR, and I did my master's in project management here in Islamabad as well. And then when I was at the second last semester of my MBA, at that time I got a very good opportunity of starting my career. And from there onwards, it's been now 13 years since I'm working, and it's been 7 years since I'm associated with the oil and gas sector. So it's really, really good to be with them. And yes, indeed, it's mostly a male-dominating sector, but the new avenues are always there for females, and females are now coming forward in this sector.
Wonderful. And Sumbal, as a little girl, were you an only child, or do you have a big family you come from?
Well, we are 4 in number, and I'm the eldest among my siblings, followed by a brother, then a sister, and then a brother. And 2 of my siblings are software engineers, and the third one is currently doing his BS in economics.
And what made you know that you wanted to do an MBA?
Well, this is an interesting story. I at first was very much fond of becoming a lawyer because many people told me that you have good communication skills. I don't know if that's true or not, but but when I was about to reach my college, I realized that there was no college offering an LLB degree in my hometown. So my parents were really very gracious, and they allowed me to move forward. And from there onwards, when I started searching more and more for something good where I can make a good career being a female, then I came across this new trend of doing MBA. So I did my bachelor's in statistics and economics, and from there I realized that MBA would be the best possible thing I could ever do for my career and establishing my career, because I was from the very beginning very career oriented. So that was something that I always wanted to have, a very sound and good career in my years to come. So I decided to go for an MBA. And when in the second last semester of my MBA, I started working for one of the leading NGOs, I realized that I have very good skills of managing a project. So I decided to pursue a degree in project management. And this is how I ended up in a master's with a project management.
Wow. And project management is once again leadership. You're the eldest child, you did an MBA, you went into project management, all very lean in choices in your life, and also by birth, you're in a position of leadership. But Sumbal, oil and gas is not something that many women choose, particularly with as much ambition as you have embraced the sector. And I see not only, like you spoke earlier, that you knew what you wanted to an extent, but I also think no one can quite say no to you. You're someone who has that ability to convince anyone of anything. It's a trait I highly, highly admire in you, and you should be very proud of. But as a woman with those traits, you have managed to navigate this sector with so much respect. Not only are you liked and well thought of and respected, but you're very much one that your colleagues and even senior executives are grooming for senior and more senior positions. And that is a testimony not only to your personality, but also to your ambition and how you've been able to restrain the ambition and make it very likable and warm and inclusive of others. So please talk a bit about that.
Okay, at first, it's all about getting the right opportunity at the very right time. For example, if my parents would have not been gracious enough and they would have not been supportive enough, I would have never ended up in doing a master's and then another master's, and I would have never ended up in a co-education because I belong to a very conservative Pathan family at first. Secondly, as far as the oil sector is concerned, I had 7 years of experience working with an INGO on various projects, and that made me the best skill set what the oil and gas sector was looking at that time. So when when I was getting recruited for the oil and gas sector, and the boss of by that time, he was asking me various questions in my interview, and he asked me how can I contribute being a female towards this sector. And my very first answer was I will be working towards the empowerment of females because they are almost next to nil in this industry. And then I suggested a few more things, just like the way any candidate can contribute to an interview. And luckily, I got selected. The thing is that now the basic thing is that has kept me hooked up to this particular job for the last 7 years is I have been given the maximum opportunities to explore my own new skills with the passage of time, and the credit goes to the executives which I am working with. They have been really very supportive, and they have been providing a conducive environment for a female. That is making me stick to this particular industry because very limited females are working for the oil and gas sector, although the trend is getting changed day by day, and it's changing. And I am very much hopeful that this industry will have almost 40 and 60 ratio in the next 2 to 3 years, which is a big number. And as you know that SECP has these rules that they have at least one person as a board member, one person as female person as board member in their organization. So it's a trickle down effect. I strongly believe that there will be days where the companies itself will be looking for more and more females in organizations, because I strongly believe that a female contributes a lot more to her work as compared to men. She is much more responsible. She can do multitasking, and this is something built in her personality.
It's amazing to see the mark you've been making at OGDCL. And of course, having worked with you, I have noticed so many areas where you promote women. And OGDCL even has a female-friendly elevator, which I've had the pleasure of being inside. Was that one of your ideas?
No, basically it was an idea by the higher management, and this shows that how good they are towards their female staff. We are now planning to come up with a good daycare center, which is again, which the credit again goes to our higher management, and they understand the needs and the requirements of their female staff because they are those females are contributing massively to their profitability and to their higher revenue generation.
Absolutely. And you know, Sumbal, one of the things I noticed about your personality and your professionalism is not only have you been somebody who is very thorough with your own assigned tasks, but also you're forward thinking about ways to bring profitability, strength, and learning and education throughout the entire organization, which is, of course, arguably the largest organization in all of Pakistan.
Yes, indeed. Tara, the thing is that if you have the willingness to do something towards the communities, to do something towards the betterment of the underprivileged communities, it automatically comes from your heart. Look, I cannot contribute in terms of money. Maybe I can give my zakat and my donation up to a certain level and as per my own salary and as per my own earnings. But the platform that I am getting through my organization, it is so vast that I can, it's like literally the chances of exploration and the chances of exploring new avenues is like there is no limit to it. So whenever I uh, uh, see somebody in need, and organizations like your organization or any implementing partner that comes up with a good idea to us, we have a proper evaluation criteria. We evaluate the need, we assess the need, and we a kind of gel up with them in a way that it can be a win-win situation for both the organization, and in the end it should be a wonderful scenario for the underprivileged community, so that they can get the best out of this partnership. This is how this is what keeps me driving, move forwarding, and this is the best thing that I can ever do in my life. It's so satisfying that like you are earning a sort of agenda in your own life while you are alive, because serving the underprivileged and getting this opportunity at such large scales that you are responsible for spending millions and millions on the underprivileged communities just to bring array of hope to them, and just to bring a change to their lives instantly.
It's amazing. And you, Sumbal, have been now 7 or 8 years, you mentioned, with OGDCL.
Yes.
And how have you thought through strategically the navigation of your career? It's something where we won't even talk about the future, because I know it's very sensitive where companies are concerned, but you can talk about the past. When you began, you were much more junior, and
Yes.
you had to prove yourself. So maybe you
Yes.
can talk about very things that you can comfortably talk about in ways that you proved yourself, or maybe share a lean in story of a moment where you really put your heart into your career.
Okay. The thing is, Tara, when I started my career, I was only 21 and a half. And it's been quite a long journey by now. I was very much young. I was naive. I had no idea of what an office environment looks like. I straight away from university ended up in a corporate sector in an INGO. And then from there onwards, I found bad people and good people both at the same time. The good people forced me to go forward, and the bad people tried to push me backwards. But it completely depended upon me. And above all, it completely depended upon my family and their support, which kept me driving forward. Um, there was a time when I had a female boss, and she was not somebody who would let me move forward in a way. But then there came another time, and in another organization, if I can name that, and I would proudly like to name it, I worked for the British Council, and there was my boss. Her name is Mariam Rab, and I truly, truly admire her, and she is a wonderful lady. And she had been the life-changing component for me. The life-changing factor, the life-changing component. I worked with her only for 7 months, and that completely changed my life. And it was a wonderful opportunity. So what I strongly believe is that even somebody from your own gender can try to push you forward, and can bring you down as well. So it completely depends upon how and what kind of people you come across in your career. Secondly, I had very good male bosses as well. Then I had very bad male bosses as well. But in the organization where I am currently working, I had almost 4 bosses in the last 7 years. And Alhamdulillah, I'm very much grateful that all of them has been very kind to me. And perhaps one of the factors was my hard work and dedication towards my work. So it all depends how you compose yourself and how you decide to move forward.
Absolutely. Can you talk a bit more about how that female boss encouraged you? And you know very well that the Lean in Pakistan concept is sisterhood, women supporting women. And you're showing here an example of a boss that supported you. Can you share some stories of that?
Yes, I would love to. I would love to. When at the very first I was selected there, we had a meeting with her, and she made me understand my tasks and my job description and everything. And she was in search of a good researcher at that time. And it was all about the STEM studies, science, technology, engineering, and maths, and all of these things, and especially about the women empowerment and the participation of women in STEM studies. So she herself had this knowledge of how important a female is for getting an information from another female. And then there was my a foreigner colleague of us, and she happily sent me with her to Lahore to interview the vice chancellors of universities and head of the departments, and all of them were females. And it was a wonderful experience. Trust me, Tara, if I would have not been given that opportunity, I would have never been confident in my life, in my interviewing skills, in my communication skills, and in my presentation skills. So that is one of the examples which I have quoted. There were multiple examples in those 7 months. And when I was selected in my current organization, I went to her and I told her, look, I have to go because I have been offered a job at some other place and I would love to pursue my career there onwards. She willingly let me go, and she understood the point, and she wished me luck, and she, with all her open arms and open heart, let me go at that time.
Wonderful. And one of the things, since we've been talking a lot about career, is how do you manage your time?
Tara, punctuality is the key to everything, to be very honest. And time utilization is the most important component of a successful person, I would say. Look, there was a time when I was working only on 2 or 3 projects a year when I started my career. There was a time even when I worked on a single project per year. But now here comes the time where I have to work on 40 projects per year, at least.
40 projects.
Yes, with and all of them with different implementing partners. So you can imagine the efforts and the time it requires. I at times am unable to reply to phone calls of my implementing partners, or I cannot reach to them at the very immediate time, but I try my level best to keep them satisfied and to keep them on board, because it's like the requirement of my work. And through strategic leadership, I have been taught a lot regarding how I can utilize my skills, how can utilize my time in the best possible manner. But doing things at the right time with the right people is the key to everything.
So one of the other reasons you may not always be able to answer back someone who's reaching you is because you're in scarce rural areas so much of the time. Areas
Yes.
that are not even always female friendly. And you traveled all over Pakistan. You've traveled
Yes.
to areas that I won't even name because they have such a dodgy reputation globally, but you've been there and you are
Yes.
fearless and eager and passionate. And could you talk a little bit about that element of your career and your personality?
Yes. We currently are present in 19 districts across the country, and most of those districts are extremely in vulnerable conditions. We are here to uplift those vulnerable conditions and bring a positive change. For that, I have traveled from Kohat, Karak to Sibi to Sakhar, and I have traveled a lot throughout. And it has been an amazing experience. It at times gives you a source of anxiety as well, because when you see the underprivileged and the deprived people, and you see you have to work in those constrained areas, in that constrained environment with those limited budgets that you have, it definitely brings anxiety. I'll quote an example. I have been associated with the mammography camps for the females in the past, and I have and at that time I met a female who was suffering from stage 4 cancer, and I was unable to tell her because I was not the doctor. I am just the corporate social responsibility specialist, and I had to be there to implement my project in the best possible way. So she was telling me again and again, Dr. Saiba, and I was so much helpless at that time that the doctor herself was standing beside me. I tried my level best to be a source of comfort for that lady. And I didn't tell her that I am not a doctor. I just gave a hint to the doctor to talk to her directly, so that I can take a step back, and she can contribute her message, which is a valid point, and she can calm her down in the best possible way. So and that was the point when I saw her wound, Tara, that was like I didn't slept for 2 nights, because it was really really depressing for me, and I wanted to help her. But the thing is that as she was a stage 4 cancer, without giving her calm words and soothing words, I had nothing in my hand. So at times my job gets very very hectic, and it gets very hard for me, but I have to do it.
True. And what about your self-care? I mean, you give so much and you're so empathetic to others, and you try to manage stakeholder implementation partner interests, senior executive interests, your corporate interests, as well as your career navigation interests and your family interests. How do you look after you, Sumbal?
Well, Tara, somebody recently asked me that what if I was married and I had kids, then how would I have been this much productive or not? So I told them that what is built in a female is magical. You can't even imagine that. It's all about exploring yourself. If you have explored yourself in the right time, with the help of the best people around you, and eliminating the negative vibes coming from people around you and taking only the positive vibes, only then would you be able to do. Either you are a family person, either you are a mother, either you are a single person, or either you, or whatever your status is, that completely won't matter to a female. The only thing which I strongly believe, which I strongly think is, and I strongly believe in, is at times it gets hard. Yes, being a female, I have to accept it. It gets very hard, and as Allah Pak has created a female to be a little bit weaker than a man, that is a component where females at times gets emotional, and they have to think of certain things, and they at times think that no, yaar bas ab main thak gayi hu. Now I need a bit of change. There are days like that. Definitely there are days like that. But again, the very next morning you have to wake up and be a much more stronger female to face the world, to face the challenges that are coming your way.
So I am going to quote you for that quote over and over again. You have to explore yourself. I'm going to quote it properly. I'll replay the video, but that was just amazing. And so, Sumbal, as you are working towards all your goals for the moment, how do you find that your career nourishes you, and what does it provide for you as a woman?
Well, Tara, it makes me strong with each passing day, because every day is a new challenge. It's improving my skill sets. It's improving me in every way possible. It's making me a better person, a better person in a way that it's teaching me how to adjust in limited resources and how to give more in those limited resources. There are several components involved in bringing myself together, but at the end of the day, yes, the opportunity that I have been blessed by is one in a million, and not every female gets this opportunity. So I'm very much happy, and it's helping a lot in my career. Recently, I have been to the United Nations Global Compact Network Pakistan's awards. My organization has been awarded for its contribution towards sustainability and towards the CSR. And there are many more opportunities to come in near future, and I'm very much hopeful. I was also selected for the COY 17 conference as a young delegate. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend it due to some technical reasons, but that was indeed a moment of pride for me to get selected. Other than that, I am a fellowship leader for the USAID's program, and whatever I have learned in the past, and whatever I have learned in my entire career, be it at the current position or the position that I have been earlier at, it altogether has helped me a lot, and I'm very, very much hopeful that it will be helping me in near future as well, because I'm looking forward to a bright career.
Absolutely. And it's clear that you're destined for one. You're one of the most thorough and popular and respected professionals, particularly in your sector. And we're really proud to have you be part of Lean in Pakistan Islamabad and to be chairing the Oil and Gas Circle for Islamabad. You're just amazing. Thank you
Thank
once
you.
again for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tara, for having me, and it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.